Most people think you're going into debt when you buy a home, but can you really get out of debt, clear out all of your debt just because you bought a home? I know it sounds pretty crazy, right? Chad Rankin here, Rankin Mortgage Team in Worcester, Massachusetts. Um, Here's the deal, and we speak with clients all the time on this regard, and it's an interesting conversation because a lot of times folks have diligently saved 10, 15, $20,000 towards what they anticipate would be a down payment. Maybe just enough to cover the down payment, and they expect that they're going to have to ask the seller to pay for a closing cost with a seller credit, depending on the financing, 3 to 6%. So if somebody's looking to buy a $400,000 property, they've saved $20,000, 5% down payment or 3% down payment. It's going to cover, all of the down payment, potentially plus some of the closing costs, but they might need to ask for, say, a $10,000 seller credit to cover the rest. Well, that's going to put them at a disadvantage when they put an offer on a property compared to especially the people that are not asking for a seller contribution. So many times we're having conversations with folks that did not know that they may qualify for down payment assistance. And this is what we do here. It's pretty cool. Um, Literally every single week I'm having this conversation. I'm saying, hey, I know you did a great job saving diligently those funds for the down payment, but here's what I'm going to suggest you do instead. I'm going to put you into this down payment assistance program that is going to cover all of your down payment and your closing costs. See, we've got 5 programs that do this, and they're national. And again, I'm licensed in 30 states, so I can do this all over the place. But we can give, depending upon the program, $25,000 or $30,000 towards down payment and closing cost. So you may not even need to ask the seller for any sort of contribution. On top of that, guess what? You're not using that $20,000 that you saved. Or if it's 10 or 15,000, whatever it is, you're not using that now. So what can you do with those funds? I can take those funds and just allocate them, check a box off for each of those debts that show up on your credit report with a monthly payment, a minimum monthly payment. These liabilities are now not included in your debt to income ratio. And by excluding those, I mean, gosh, $10,000 to $20,000 in debts can very easily equal $400, $800 in minimum monthly payments, including, of course, maybe one of those is an auto loan. Maybe you took out a $25,000 auto loan, years ago, and you only owe $12,000 on it, right? But it's got a $430 payment. Well, guess what you did? You saved that $20,000 or $15,000 to actually pay down that debt, to then eliminate that $400+ payment from your debt to income ratio, which then increases your purchase power by $50,000 to $100,000. Pretty cool stuff. So believe it or not, with the down payment assistance programs, you can actually go into the purchase of a new home and get the down payment assistance covered at a very, very attractive offering, sometimes for much less than what the actual going interest rate is on a first mortgage. And if you have questions on that, of course, I can talk about the specifics for each program, each state, so forth. And then on top of that, I can literally mark those debts to be paid at closing. So here's the cool thing too. You've saved that money. You don't actually need to pay it off before closing. Sometimes people get a little bit fearful, like, well, we took us 4 years to save this money. I don't want to use it to go down and pay off the auto loan now. Great, don't worry about it. We'll just mark them to be paid off at closing. So instead of you bringing a down payment to closing, you're actually bringing to closing the money to pay off that loan and those credit cards. Just takes a little bit of work for us, you and us, to get those payoffs and to get those balances. It's not that difficult, but we go ahead and update the loan accordingly so that you're paying those off at closing, and that the down payment assistance is covering the closing cost and the down payment and the closing cost. And then here's a crazy part too. You always have to put down earnest money deposits, depending upon the state you're in, either 1 or 2 deposits when you go under contract to purchase a home. Well, believe it or not, with this program, you might actually get that money back at closing, actually in the form of a check at the closing from the attorney. So that's just a quick overview and synopsis of like what can be done, and it surprises the heck out of a lot of people. I mean, in the world of refinancing later, when you actually have a lot of equity in your home, people do choose to do cash out refinances to pay off debt and eliminate minimum monthly payments. In a weird way, this kind of works like that, right? Because you're actually able to use the funds that you save to pay off those debts, and then eliminate all these monthly payments to actually put you in a better position, your family in a better position. And I could go on and on and on about the security, stability of your family in the future, and the trajectory, and the average, between a renter and a homeowner in terms of assets over the years. It's pretty mind blowing when you get into the numbers. But you can set yourself up this way that I've never heard anybody kind of articulate and talk about like this before. So just want to pass that on to you. Any questions, as always, happy to answer. But it's something that we do day in and day out, and people are pretty excited about it when we tell them about it. All right, have a great one.